Hello, this is for the physics of violins, and today I wanted to demonstrate some of the concepts mentioned in my paper for my own personal violin over here. Now, so first of all, starting with the violin components. By the way, this is a Andreas Eastman violin from France in 2013. Yeah, so some of the components over here, I obviously have my main violin body, and I have my violin bridge over here. So as you can see, the bridge connects my strings to the main body. And as referenced in my last section on violin design, both the bridge and the body are in charge of transmitting the energy from the string vibrations into sound waves that can travel through the air. Yeah. And then I also have my fingerboard over here. So violins are a bit different from guitars in that they don't have any frets. So that means that I could produce basically any pitch note that I wanted based on the position of my fingers along the fingerboard. Yeah, so I'm not limited to only certain notes that are present on the frets. I can produce any range of notes that I want. Yeah, but a downside to that as well is that it's harder to make sure you're in tune and that your fingers are placed in the right positions for each note. Okay, so now on to the frequency and pitch for my strings, right? There are 4 strings on a violin. So from lowest to highest, it's my G string. So this is the lowest because it is the thickest and has the greatest mass per unit length. And the next is my D string. So this is D4, so like 4th octave D. Next is A4, which is actually my reference pitch, and it's my standard pitch for a violin. So this is at 440 hertz. And then last is my highest string, the E string. Yeah. So normally when I'm tuning a violin, I actually only have to tune the A string. And then once I know that that is at a standard hertz, I can tune all my other strings by kind of relative to the A string. So for instance, how that works is once my A string is tuned, I will play 2 strings at a time. So say my D string and my A string together. And then I'll be listening for sound interferences actually between those 2 strings. Because if my strings are in tune, they should be, at a perfect 1/5 interval apart. Yeah, so if there are, major sound interference that I hear, that means that my strings are out of tune. Yeah. Okay, so there are 2 main ways in which I can change the pitch of my instrument. So first way is, as I just mentioned, by tuning my strings. Okay, so because the frequency is directly proportional to the square root of my string tension, if I tighten or loosen the strings from my pegs over here, then I could obtain a different frequency and different pitch. Yeah. And then also these bigger pegs, these are for more major adjustments in the string tension. Yeah, but normally just these smaller pegs will be enough to tune my instrument. And then second of all, is by moving my fingers along the fingerboard, right? So frequency is also proportional, I think, to the inverse of a mass per unit length, meaning that for shorter length, I have a higher frequency. So if I want to produce, pitch higher than my open string, I can move my fingers up on the strings, for instance, in a scale. Yeah, so starting from my A string, right, I can go. And then this would, as I go higher up on my string, I would be getting a higher pitched note. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I think. Oh, last thing maybe. One last thing I also mentioned is through different techniques on my violin, I could, produce different range of harmonics, and I can get a different type of sound. So, for instance, staccato on a violin is basically just plucking the string. Yeah, so yeah, so it sounds like that, and as you can see, my string vibrations are very muted, very limited, and my strings stop vibrating pretty quickly. Yeah, so that is to produce more of a muted sound. Generally, though, violins use their bows. So as I move my bow, it is constantly adding energy to my strings, and then my strings are constantly vibrating while my bow is in motion. So that obviously produces a longer sound. And then one last technique, violinists often do vibrato as well. So it's kind of hard to show, but it's moving their fingers up and down along the string. Yeah, so this will rapidly change the length of your string, right? And then this will rapidly change the types of harmonics that you get as well. So this will actually cause your string to oscillate, and then you can really get a more interesting sound because of the change in harmonics and the string oscillations. So let me just demonstrate. Yeah, so first, this is just without vibrato. But if I add vibrato, then it sounds much more interesting. It's hard to do without a shoulder rest. Normally you put something on your shoulder. Let me try this. Okay. That was bad. Yeah, that still wasn't that good, but that is the general idea. Okay, yeah, so that is the physics of violin. Bye-bye.